So, Mr. So Breezy, what do you have to say about our game, our beloved Final Fantasy XIV game?
Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker is, at the moment, the best interactive story experience that I've had the pleasure to enjoy.
Okay.
I think that's a good opening line. It's subjective, but I think it's fairly accurate. Obviously, I'm going to talk about Endwalker and the completion of this whole saga in Final Fantasy XIV. This isn't a review, though. You're not going to catch me doing some direct comparison to other.
Okay. I know we paused already, 31 seconds in. Okay, I need to put the disclaimer out there. I have not finished Endwalker yet. I have done up to included Shadowbringer. Okay, so I'm very curious to see to hear about what he has to say when it comes to the completion of the saga, because the completion of the saga implies that it includes every other game from the past, every other expansion from the past. I'm more curious to see about what he has to say about this. As for the completion itself, sorry, haven't stepped into Endwalker just yet. We will be doing that though within autumn, like I want to say in 1 month tops, probably less actually.
Games like World of Warcraft. Actually, with any luck, that'll be the only time that I mention that game in this video. Although now I'm looking at the shirt that I'm wearing, and anyway, this is me just sharing my journey, my experience, my feelings as I've played.
What is the shirt he's wearing? Is it Sylvanas? Okay, so this guy is wrong in whatever the fuck he's gonna say. He's wearing a shirt of fucking Sylvanas, the bitch queen. Okay.
Although now I'm looking at the shirt that I'm wearing, and
yeah.
Anyway, this is me just sharing my journey, my experience,
the guy's
my
cool,
feelings as I've played through to the end credits, pretty much. Okay. I'm not gonna have spoilers at all throughout this first part of the video.
Much appreciated.
I'm not even gonna talk about non-Endwalker content. I don't even know if I'm going to use any B-roll outside of footage in cities, I guess. So, with that in mind, if you're going to comment and include spoilers, please do your best to obfuscate them, for others who just don't want to be spoiled.
See, dude, like, I don't even know what he's going to say about the game. He's already in the fucking intro, right? And I am immensely appreciating what he has to say, the message he's sending to his community. Like, give this spoiler free. Let's not spoil it for other people. Like, this guy is OG up to this point.
Now, for the rest of you jackals, though, the back end of this video is going to have spoilers, but I'm just going to sort of, quick fire some bullet points. I'm just going to kind of...
Okay, so we're going to watch the video up to here, okay? Up to 28:49.
Rant with comments. So use the navigation thing below to get you to where you want to go. So let's start with the premise. The before Endwalker days.
Yes.
Now, I've been playing 14 off and on for, I think, about 2 or 3 years or so.
Okay, me too.
I was always curious about the game, but I never really got hooked in the way that you get hungry for more content. And then about a year ago or so, I bought a skip, like a blasphemer, right? I gave in after hearing that there was going to be a new Game Plus option, that it would be available at some point. And people at the time... Like they were regularly dogging on Realm Reborn gameplay and its patch content, and I was like, all right, screw it. So
dude, this is what Final Fantasy XIV people do, and it is so wrong. Like, oh, wait until Heavensward, wait until Heavensward, wait until Heavensward. In the mean fucking time, ARR has epic moments starting with when you fucking first resist Ifrit, which fucking makes sense for the story later down the line. It has bosses like fucking Garuda. They revamped it now, okay? Back in his day, they had not revamped it. But still, at least it had Praetorium, which was like AFK EXP gained. Like you put something on your second monitor and then you just fucking get passively EXP, You watch your favorite Netflix show or whatever the fuck you watch in the country where you live and you get passive EXP. But okay, let's ignore that. It had fucking Coils of Bahamut. And if you say that fucking Coils of Bahamut is not phenomenal, it's not fantastical, it's not mandatory to do before Heavensward, you're an idiot. Like, no, the community needs to stop doing this. The Realm Reborn is an amazing start. If you've played World of Warcraft and you go back to the ARR, where people are like, no, you know what, the quests are dogshit. You wanna know dogshit quests? Okay, I'll tell you dogshit quests. Look at my voice now, calm, super calm. Play WoW. play WoW, get into the Shadowbringers. Oh, the gameplay is so good. The story sucks ass. Like sucks. It is so bad. How would they describe the Shadowlands story? Actually, BFA story too. How would it be if you took a shit on top of a shit and then you put another shit on top? So like instead of this marvelous cake, multi-layered cake, you have a multi-layered shit. That's what story is in WoW, okay? The grind in reputation systems, fucking renowns, all this shit were so bad that when I played ARR, okay, even back in BFA, because I was playing ARR when BFA was out, back in BFA, you know what happened? You had to grind Island Expedition, you have to do your Warfronts, you didn't choose to. You had to do X, you had to do Y, you had to do all this shit, you know? And then I go into ARR where people are like, you know what, it's this bad grind, this terrible grind, you're not gonna love it. I'm like, you know what, no. Okay, disclaimer. The first time I played ARR, I hated it, but that was because I started as a thaumaturge in Ul'dah. The second time I gave it a try with my actual character that I have now, Onyxia, you know, and Aura, Azayla Supremacy Race, by the way, for the win. Everyone who disagrees is wrong. I started it as a summoner, old summoner, in Limsa Lominsa. Dude! It was the best shit I could have done. People need to stop saying that. If you're a member of the Final Fantasy XIV community, please stop saying that. Stop telling people, oh, it gets better in Heavensward. No! Tell them it gets really good. It's a slow start. That's what you should say. It's a slow start. You're gonna love it. Because everything, by the fucking end of fucking ARR, everything makes sense, okay? Let's talk about ARR. Spoilers alert, okay? Let's talk about ARR briefly. You have Nanamo fucking dying. Okay, she didn't die, but you don't know that. You have Nanamo fucking dying. You have Raban losing a fucking arm. You have you running as a fucking refugee to Ishgard. You have you doing the battle of, you know, the big dragon boy in the fucking bridge. You have all this shit. And you're gonna tell me that it's bad? But sure, let's ignore this shit, you know? You have the whole adoration of primals, you know? You have when did you have Gabu? Was it ARR that you had Gabu? I'm not sure, so I'm not gonna speak about this. You had Crystal Tower, okay? You had the establishment of the fucking beginning, you know, like the groundwork for Lagan technology. And on top of that, what did you fucking have? You had the Binding Calls of Bahamut. What did the Binding Calls of Bahamut? First of all, one of the best stories in the game. That aside, they also built the character of Alize. Like, if you go into Heavensward, you understand why Alize is so amazing in Heavensward because of all the progress you did with her in ARR. You know, you meet with Grahatia. Grahatia is someone that you fucking meet later in Shadowbringers with the Crystal Tower and shit, and they are telling you about how you can finally, you know, fix the tempering, and you get to free Gabo and all this shit. I'm not gonna talk about Shadowbringers. Don't bash on ARR. Please do not bash on ARR, okay? The post-patch shit, like the post-game, you know, like 2.1, 2.2, maybe they're a bit more slow, but honestly, the game is about the journey, not the fucking destination. When you tell the person it gets so much better in Heavensward, you know what they're thinking? Okay, so I have to take this massive schlong in the asshole until I get to Heavensward. No, you should tell them, play slow. Don't push, don't have an end goal. Just take it one fucking step at a time. Play 2 hours today, 3 hours tomorrow, maybe skip the next day, maybe play 1 more hour. You know what? Maybe you don't feel like progging ARR. Stop playing ARR. Stop playing the game, you know? Maybe go do some gathering. Maybe go do some crafting. The game is so good that it gives you so much opportunities in this shit. Don't say that ARR is garbo and that it gets better in Heavensward. Rant over, let's keep going.
I bought that skip and I went straight to Heavensward, and I've been playing more frequently over this past year, as you might have known.
This is the worst part you could have done, because he doesn't know how you got to Heavensward, you know? Like, he has never seen the character progression of Alize, he has no clue who the fucking characters are. This is the worst thing you can do. Like, the game, Final Fantasy XIV, it's not about the end. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey, it's about how you get there. Also, hi, Afterdawn.
Now, I'm a content creator, I stream, but I wanted to experience this game in the way that I wanted to.
Good.
I admit it's pretty insane. I get jealous actually seeing, seeing these folks streaming and they're surrounded by hundreds or thousands of people with all their energy and they want to share in that moment like, hey, streamer person, welcome to the new expansion, or welcome to the new city, welcome to max level. I'm an introvert, both online and offline, and blending into the background it's kind of my natural state. I know you're watching a video, just level with me here. Obviously, I open myself up to it in the games that I play publicly and videos that I do, but in my comfort zone, I don't want tips, I don't want backseating, I don't want the feeling of people
Then put no
watching if
backseating.
I make mistakes, right? Moves, wrong moves, reactions, whatever. So here,
Nobody
in
cares.
Final
Like something that I noticed in Final Fantasy XIV community, nobody cares if you do your rotation wrong. Nobody gives a fuck. People just give a fuck about your reaction, about how you react to stuff. Maybe they agree, maybe they don't agree. What they want to see is how. So they had a good or a bad experience, and they want to see how you respond to that good or bad experience. They don't give a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck about your rotation.
Fantasy 14, I played like 97% of it off stream by myself, solo. No
Okay.
viewer groups, not even the friends that I have in my free company. And I just
Fair,
wanted to
fair
see
enough, fair enough.
where the wind would take me.
Yeah.
The wind mostly took me through the main story quest, or the MSQ, and just about nowhere else. Now, I played through just about all the previous Final Fantasy games and a ton of other Japanese RPG that employ similar styles, narrative, and gameplay designs. I went this very linear route in 14. In hindsight, not exactly because I didn't care about the side quest content. Like, you know how in some RPGs you get to like this new area, this new zone or town or whatever, and you want to explore the crap out of the place because maybe you're really engrossed into the story.
Yes, but don't the blue cross quest lines give you the urge to go and try them? The possibility of playing all of your classes in your own character, of having practically everything in your own character, from a crafter, from a gatherer, from a melee DPS, from a ranged DPS, from a tank. I'm not gonna mention all the shit you can do. It's so many. It's insanely many. Why not unlock the dungeons? Why not unlock the hard mode dungeons? Why not go do, for example, Crystal Tower? Well, you see something with a special icon. Aren't you curious to go and try it out? Like, you're a WoW gamer, okay? Like, that's what I'm guessing here. Like, because I see the Sylvana shit and your name is like so breezy or whatever it is. Actually, let me not fuck this up. Yeah, it's also breezy. Warcraft, that's what you had in the beginning. WoW does have this. You do have the main story, and then you find some random quests in the zone. Why wouldn't you be? As a matter of fact, WoW pretty much forces you to do all these quests because otherwise you won't get max level. Like, why wouldn't you just take a break? Honestly, World of Warcraft's motto is like, stay a while and listen. Why wouldn't you stay a while and listen? You see all these people with cool armor, in the meantime you have your leveling gear. Aren't you wondering how they got these armors? Like, you finish ARR, you finish Heavensward, aren't you wondering what you could do? Like, what was the end game of Heavensward back in the day? Aren't you curious to find out about this shit?
Maybe there's some sort of benefit for completing everything in the area, like hidden stuff or both. The latter part, the one who's looking for a boon or a benefit, that's me. If I know that doing all the quests and the side quests as I go along will get me something that will make the rest of my journey easier, and it's worth the time, of course, I'm going to do it. If it's not, though, then I'm going to consider coming back later, if it is useful, or for my own enrichment.
Okay, fair enough, yes.
I don't remember too accurately, but during my time in Realm Reborn, I got pretty burnt out pretty fast. I was just burying myself
Me too,
in
yes.
all these side quests of different levels, and I didn't understand it quite well, and I wasn't feeling.
I didn't bother with side quests, okay? I did burn out during ARR because of the wrong mindset that I told you guys before. Like, every one of my friends was like, "Oh, you know what? Get better in Heavensward, get better in Heavensward," and that fucked me in the ass because I saw this as a grind instead of enjoying it. And when I just fucking think of the past and what I would change is that I just wouldn't rush it. Like I would just fucking chill, you know, like I would just fucking relax and take one step at a time. And the burnout that I did that I don't believe I would ever have avoided was during post ARR shit, like, you know, in the 2.x patch. Yeah, that was a bit of a burnout, but then again, I was trying to finish one patch per go. I wasn't streaming back then. So yeah, that's on me again. Like, just chill. That's what I would say to this guy.
I was getting anywhere. And so when I jumped back into the game this year, I think I ended up consciously or subconsciously responding to the trauma, as well as listening to other folks who just said, you know what, skip this part, or if anything, just play through the main story. So I just focused on that main story quest thing in the corner like it was my North Star. And I paid the price. The least of all, there were commenters on YouTube and elsewhere who insist that my experience is tainted because I bought a skip, that I have no credibility. I can't talk about anything because I don't play the game the way they want me to.
No, wrong. Hold up, okay? Okay. I don't want to come out as aggressive here, but hear me out. When you go out and get a master's degree, but you bought a skip through your bachelor's degree, you don't have a spherical view of the points, okay? Now, me, I'm a physicist, all right? And my favorite thing in physicist is mechanics and optics, okay? However, I do know electromagnetism, I do know quantum theory, I do know all this shit, right? Now, in order to properly understand an aspect of my science, you need to have delved in a lot of them at the same time because they intermingle, okay? You cannot understand electricity without including magnetism at some point. You cannot understand optics without understanding waving. You cannot understand waves without understanding the transfer of momentum and so on and so forth. I don't want to bore you guys with science, okay? When you skip ARR, you effectively try to build a castle on sand. Like, that's why people say that you have no credibility and that you are not reliable. They're not making an attack at you directly, but you're trying to build a castle on sand. Like, if you don't know how it started and how it progressed, you know, like, for example, Shadowbringers has many references from back in ARR. If you haven't played back in ARR, you won't get these references. To you, something will be like, who gives a fuck? But to someone else who has experienced ARR, they will be like, holy shit, that just fucking happened, you know? For example, the whole Crystal Tower saga, okay? Without Crystal Tower, how the fuck would you understand what Crystal Tower is, who Grahatia is? Like, why would you have an emotional investment? Why would you try to understand who is this mysterious figure that pretty much fucking kidnapped you from your own world and forced you to summon? To get summoned to this first, you know? Like, people are not hostile towards you. People are hostile towards your perception of, I want to say, not reality, your perception of the game, because your perception of the game is fundamentally flawed because you did not do the fundamentals. That's the issue right there, dude. Like, it's not on you. It's not like about people telling you you're playing the game wrong. Play the game however the fuck you want, but don't try to say that, you know what, I skipped this part of the story and then, like, I did the later part of the story, and this allows me to tell you that the story is X, Y, or Z. It doesn't make sense. You just cannot skip half of the book, you know? Like, I have many books here that I enjoy, okay? I'm not gonna fetch one for you, but one of them is Thus Spoke Zarathustra by Friedrich Nietzsche. If I skip 50% of the book and give a conclusion out of the last 50% of the book, my thesis is bullshit. That's what people are trying to say.
Or that I'm not allowed to say anything negative because I don't understand this thing the way it was intended.
You are allowed to say whatever the fuck you want, so long as you don't offend other people, blah blah blah. Okay, freedom of speech exists, but let's not be dicks about it. However, you do not understand how it was intended. Like, these are two different facts. You don't have to intermingle them. You can say whatever the fuck you want. You have the right. I'm with you about on this, okay? You can say whatever. You can say that Final Fantasy XIV is dog shit. You can do that. Why? Because you don't like it. Fuck this game, uninstall it. You can say that. I disagree, but you can say that. Now, whether or not people are gonna agree with you, That's an entirely different thing.
But I have passed things by. Like, it wasn't until passing a couple of expansions that I even knew about the Chocobo saddle. I am not entirely sure if I've unlocked the Wondrous Tales weekly thing. I think it's a weekly thing. Obviously, I haven't done one. And I can't fly into any of the expansion content because I guess I figured that the time to complete the quests and explore the areas to collect the things, it just wouldn't be worth the convenience. In hindsight, I happen to be right. Another reason.
What do you mean you happen to be right? Do you know how slow it is? How did you level up without the Chocobo saddle? Saddle is the one that allows you to have it as a mount or a pet, I'm not sure. Because if it is without a mount, what the fuck, dude?
For my linear path, I couldn't shake the feeling of being in a catch-up mode. Like, I never felt behind on anything, right? I had nothing to catch up to. No one was waiting for me to play with them.
Good.
I could have done what a lot of the big streamers have done, which was to stop and smell the roses after every.
Oh, I see. It was the extra storage. Okay, I was like, I didn't know what it was. Okay, never mind. Yeah.
Expansion or so, and do all the extreme and savage trials with no echo in order. And I'll kind of get to why I didn't do that later.
No, you know what? With this one, I agree with him, okay? Like, fuck this shit. I don't want to do it minimum item level echo. Me, personally. Other people like it. Like, Asmongold did it. Anif Husha did it. I don't know other people that did it, but probably a lot of people did it. Min item level, no echo, okay? I don't give a fuck about it, you know? Do you know how I did by Nicholas Bahamut? My friends boosted me. They were max level, they did it for me. After Dawn was one of them, okay? I was there for the story, and I played it like this. I did sink down all of the trials and all this shit, but some of the raids I did at max level, I didn't care. That's good, that it doesn't matter. Like, you don't have to play the game like as other people tell you.
I think what I mean by that is that since 5 or so expansions worth of content is like all just out there, released and laid out for me.
Yes.
I was never in that situation where I was like, okay, cool, the main story quest is done, let's go back and do side content. I could just keep cruising along. I could just keep going. And so I did.
Hold up, 1 second. Didn't he say before that he would finish the story and then think about coming back? But I guess he didn't. Okay, no, I'm of the same mindset. Like, I always say, I'll come back later, and that later never comes, you know? So that's why I am trying to be a completionist, and I understand from the beginning that, you know what, I need to finish this, I need to finish that, I need to finish this, because after I'm done with the story, like, I'm not coming back. That's why I did all blue quest lines in ARR. I got everything to 50. I got MSQ to 50, then I got everything to 60, I got MSQ to 60, all the blue quests, and then with level 70 and so on and so forth.
Knowing that with all the fangled scaling that the experience wouldn't be entirely lost if and when I wanted to actually go back. I really did enjoy the story throughout all the expansions, but it wasn't until I finished Shadowbringers and tried out the crafting jobs when I felt like I was playing an actual game. But I also knew that I wasn't playing the proper game either. Again, I was just trying to catch up before Endwalker, and this was different. So here I am using all these different sorts of catch-ups, and I'm farming insane amounts of materials, learning about trading scripts for inks to sell for the guild to fund the buying of new gear, and then learning that my best bet actually would have been to level everything at once evenly to save money. I don't know anything about leveling through beast tribes. I don't know what master recipes are exactly. Just like with the story, I didn't know where there was a stopping point, and I just kept pushing forward.
Okay, what's so bad about this? And another question. When you say you don't know about these things, who's stopping you from finding out? Like, one thing I'm not understanding here is who exactly is stopping this guy from exploring? Like, why treat this game as a linear game? It's not a linear game. It isn't. Some games are. World of Warcraft is a linear game, as in, before you get to max level, you get fucked in the ass. Like, nothing you do matters, okay? And then, once you get to max level, you have to do X, Y, Z in this particular order. Final Fantasy XIV is not like this. Final Fantasy XIV is like, go explore. I get that the MSQ can be fairly linear, but it will get you around places. And those places, like, aren't you incentivized to try them out? I don't understand. Like, when he says, I didn't know about this, I didn't know about that. Good. Now you do. Go find out about them. Go explore. If you're curious, if you're not, okay. But what was the other argument? Like, I'm with him on this, but like, still, I'm just, I don't know. Like, is he expecting everything to be served on his plate or something? And the one thing that I fundamentally disagree is, like, he says that when I finish Shadowbringers and picked up crafting, I saw that the game, I saw what the game felt actually like being full or something. Like, this is a dogshit argument. What do you mean you felt like you weren't playing a game until you finished Shadowbringers and picked up crafting? Like, how? There are so many jobs. No job appealed to you? And if no job appealed to you, why did you finish Shadowbringers? Why didn't you stop the game? Like, I'm trying to understand it from his perspective. Was this guy in some BDSM shit that had to force him to play the game and finish Shadowbringers? Because you don't. Like, if you don't like the game, respectfully, from me to you, you can say fuck this game and leave. Like, you don't have to go with the flow, you know? Like, not everyone enjoys everything. Like, in my Elden Ring fucking journey, you know what one of my mods said? One of my friends actually, said, he's like, you're playing the game in the most bizarre way I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, good, people play games in different ways, but you have to enjoy it to play it like that. If you don't enjoy it, leave. If the game feels hollow until Shadowbringers, leave. If you enjoy crafting jobs, why not level your crafting jobs in ARR? Why skip ARR? I don't understand. Like, usually I try to understand what the other guy is saying and see it from his perspective, but this guy confuses me.
I wasted a ton of money, but learning how to set up macros and having just the right gear to gain those levels and then do all the job quests and then gain more levels, I did have fun. And I completed all the profession jobs, minus fishing, just before the Endwalker expansion's launch, and I have a little bit under 1 million gil on me, which I think means I'm like super, super broke.
Yeah.
As for like EX dungeons,
but who cares about this shit? Nobody cares. Jesus Christ, I'm gonna change the frame.
Extreme dungeons and trials.
Okay, there we go. That's much better. That's much better. I don't understand. Why is that a bad thing to be broke? Why did you have to do all these things if you didn't enjoy them? And if you did enjoy them, why is it a bad thing that you were broke? Like, I don't understand. Like, you should speak about these things happily. I was broke. At some point, I had 200,000 gil. Because I was leveling up my professions as well. So, just, you enjoy it, you do it. You want to see this EXP bar go up. Like, I don't give a fuck about crafting. I never crafted a fucking item in my life. Okay, I did, but they were just a handful, you know? Do you know how I leveled up? Yeah, you know how I leveled up. I went to the fucking, the Aft Castle. I was checking out the expert delivery shit. I would go out in the auction house, or how you call it, marketplace. I would buy shit from the marketplace. If I didn't find them in good price in my server, I would go to another server. I would buy them from the other server, then go back to Aft Castle, turn them in, and get a level. That's what I did. Now, I lost a lot of money because of that, but I didn't give a fuck. I loved seeing the kudung getting levels up.
On alliance raids and Bosnia and relic farming, it never tugged my interest. I didn't even give them a chance because in my head, the gameplay didn't feel very imaginative, and I'm sure here comes the downvotes.
Hold up. Wait a minute. The gameplay did not feel very imaginative. Now, this is something I fundamentally disagree. And I will give you points why. It doesn't give us points why the gameplay it's not worth it, or it's not, let me quote him.
I didn't even give them a chance because in my head, the gameplay didn't feel very imaginative.
How the fuck? Every job is different from one another, ages apart, miles apart. Like, compare Dragoon to fucking Ninja, and then compare them to fucking Reaper. And then, I'm just saying melee DPSs because I'm gonna show how different they are. Like, you cannot even compare casters with ranged with melee, or tanks with healers. What makes you say that? Like, even healers have different healing styles. Tanks have different tanking styles. Gunbreaker is whatever the fuck Gunbreaker is. How can you say that? It's so out of place. I, King Shiny, have played Lineage 2, Star Wars: The Old Republic, Black Desert Online, ESO, Final Fantasy XIV, Guild Wars 2, World of Warcraft, and I don't know if I'm forgetting, Aeon. I briefly played Aeon 2. And Final Fantasy XIV with ESO. Actually, no, Final Fantasy XIV has the most imaginative classes. Maybe Guild Wars 2 because it allows you by changing the weapons to change the fucking playstyle entirely. But no, that's not the case. What's your experience in this? Why not give us arguments? It's not about coming to downvotes. Yeah, I'm not gonna downvote the video. I'm gonna downvote that particular aspect because you're not giving me an argument. It's controversial, but some controversial topics are true, are objective. You know, I don't understand.
And I'm sure here comes the downvotes. Like PvE content in 14, to me, again, it only feels like half of an MMORPG. Like the encounter design and the balance, it's totally there. But the feeling of improvisation by managing gear, customizing my character, that was nowhere to be found.
Okay, okay, that's a fair point. He wants more stats. Okay, he wants more stats, more customization, but the raid itself is fine. Really? Do you prefer a system where like it's RNG whether you get the item or not? Like Final Fantasy XIV has a deterministic gear reward. Like if you don't kill the boss in X amount of times, you can then go buy your shit. Like, no, if you kill the boss X amount of times and you don't get your weapon, you can go buy your weapon from a fucking vendor. Isn't this better? I don't understand.
At least I didn't find it once I finished Shadowbringers patch content. Meanwhile, I was happily mining the same zone for months and months and goofing around with crafting macros and stuff. So I came into Endwalker a pretty hardline skeptic. Not of the story, like I admit that I caught up in the hype that this culmination of story threads was finally gonna wrap up in this orchestra of emotion with a killer soundtrack behind it that would not disappoint. My skepticism, it lay with the gameplay, the vehicle that drives the story forward, with me supposedly in the driver's seat. If I were to call Final Fantasy XIV a novel, then when it comes to the main story quest, the pages that we read are the actual story, while playing the game between that is essentially just me flipping to the next page. Okay, that wasn't perfect, but I'm gonna keep that. What I mean is that, by and large, the game hasn't changed throughout the expansions. I remember ragging on the game in earlier videos because my gameplay, that is, the combat, is being interrupted by more exposition. It's just...
Oh, that's fundamentally wrong. You can try and play a class back in AR, as a level 50. Try to play Paladin as level 50. You don't even have, you have only one AoE, I don't remember, the wee thing, the fucking sword that does a fucking Beyblade shit. And then you get to level 80, and I don't even remember because I haven't played Final Fantasy XIV in a while, but you have this, you have the Hadouken shit that you combo after this, you have an OGCD, the explosion shit around you. You have the AoE magic abilities, Requiescat and the AoE Hadouken thing. And what are you talking about? Like, classes fundamentally changed. Like, try playing Dragoon at level 50. You're gonna hate your fucking life. Try playing Black Mage in level 50. You're gonna hate your fucking life. And then you get to level 80, and you get all these abilities, and the jobs just have always shit to fucking do. Heck, try playing Ninja at level 50. No, dude, I'm sorry, but I disagree with this. I really do. How can you say that? How can you say that it's like day and night?
I just wanted to stab things, right? But now I see it the opposite way. Like, now I can spend long minutes in this emotionally heavy cutscene, but then it's broken up by me having to relocate my character from point A to point B, fight 2 or 3 things, and then cool, I'm on to the next cutscene. Let's freaking go. I guess I should just cut to the meat of it. 85% of the gameplay between cutscenes is unapologetically shit. Let me be clear though, and I'll...
What?
Cool, I'm on to the next cutscene. Let's freaking go. I guess I should just cut to the meat of it. 85% of the gameplay between cutscenes is unapologetically shit. Let me be clear though, and I'll bring this up a little bit later, I think.
Hold up.
Like, the main story quest
Let's give him the
trials,
benefit of the
they're
doubt.
The MSQ dungeons, well, for what they are, they're great too, especially thanks to the trust feature. The duties, you know, those scenarios that are parts of the MSQ are probably my favorite parts of the game, period. But the rest of the gameplay that makes up the MSQ, like, you know, having to travel to the next glowing text thing to click on, to entering that foggy circle of depression to fight a couple of bad guys, to that thing where you use your camera to find an NPC and hunt it down and throw an arrow or click on it or whatever. It totally breaks the mood with how low effort that gameplay is.
Have you played an MMO in your life? Because like what this guy is describing right now is MMOs. All MMOs work like that. You speak with this motherfucker and then he tells you to go to the other motherfucker and you have an in-between travel time. And then you have to go there and deal with the motherfucker. And then he tells you to kill 10 bears and you go kill 10 bears and you come back and you talk to this motherfucker and this motherfucker sends you to the other motherfucker who is right next to the next motherfucker that you have to talk to. What? Okay. I think this guy wants two possible things. A, to watch a movie. B, a single player game. But even single player games have you going from A to B to C to D. Like, can you imagine if me, while playing Elden Ring was like, I want to watch the story and I don't like going from A to B. So, like, just show me the story. Like, if that's the case, dude, why play the game? If you feel like the gameplay is dog shit, I'm not fond of the gameplay either. Like, I believe that the gameplay in Final Fantasy XIV is bad in comparison to WoW, like less responsive and so on and so forth. But A, I can see the massive improvement from level 50 jobs to level 80 jobs. And B, I love playing the fucking game. Not as extensively as I love playing World of Warcraft, but I love playing the fucking game because if I wasn't playing the fucking game, I would just go out on YouTube and make a review and be like, you know what, I don't like this game because of this, because of this, because of that. I wouldn't be like, I bought a boost and then like now I'm not enjoying the gameplay, so why are you playing the game? Why not give us an impression and in a video about how you don't want to play the game or like how the game does not appeal to you? That's good. A game, in order to feel inclusive, it has to exclude some people. Some people it must not appeal to. I don't understand. Like, in order to have, like, I don't know, in order to have a gay bar, you need to have gay people in it. If you have straight people in it, it's just a fucking bar. It's as if he is torturing himself or something.
It feels and plays like garbage, when the duty scenarios by comparison show so much more potential for engaging gameplay that's more my style, letting the gameplay be part of the story. Playing it instead of just watching it, okay, that's me. It's small potatoes though, right? The problem I had going into Endwalker, what I was nervous about was how my paladin job was gonna play. It's the same concern that I had at the end of Shadowbringer's leveling. Like, I played a lot of Final Fantasies. Okay. I played a lot of Eastern and Western RPGs, and it's hard to find a similar game whose combat and character progression was so rigid that...
Dude, all the Final Fantasy except for 11 and 14 are single-player games. You cannot compare single-player games. You say a lot of Western RPGs. I'm gonna assume that they are single-player games. You cannot compare the way single-player game plays to Final Fantasy. Like, can you imagine if I was to make a comparison between Elden Ring and fucking Final Fantasy, or FF14 and FF7, and say that, you know what, FF14 combat is dog shit in comparison. Like, you cannot compare apples to oranges. Like, just because you don't like, I don't know, whatever the fuck fruit you don't like, just because you don't like an orange, you cannot say that I don't like fruit. Or just because you enjoy orange, you can expect all of fruits to taste like orange. It doesn't make sense at all.
There's almost no flexibility with gear choices and finding like awesome items that do awesome things. I'm accustomed to this, not from other MMOs, but most other Final Fantasy games. Fun fact though,
But it is an MMO. It's not another Final Fantasy game.
Final Fantasy IV, which is my absolute favorite out of all of them, and has more than a few references inside Endwalker, it's that rigid with its gameplay too. What I was worried about was that if my job doesn't feel fun, what is going to be the staying power of this game after the main story's done? When the JRPG story is over and the MMORPG begins? Is it going to be more crafting? Maybe. That's why, beyond the story, I was scared that the dungeons and raids couldn't even try to pull me in, because the fun of playing with gear, something that I'm totally used to in other MMOs and Final Fantasy games, is virtually non-existent. My mindset coming into Endwalker is that I'm prepared to enjoy the equivalent of Avengers Endgame, but
Why play the game? If you're done with the story and you don't enjoy the gameplay, stop playing. Wait for the story to come out and then start playing again. When game asks me to choose 3 options, why game not let me just do what I want? He's right though, gear is not a thing in 14. No, it is a gear in 14, and I love the gearing system of 14 because it's deterministic, as I said before. In World of Warcraft, if you want your best in slot piece, you may literally never fucking get it. Like, there are people that are farming Invincible today, okay? Invincible came out around 10 to 11 years ago. I want to say 10 years ago, okay? And they are farming it to this fucking day because there is no bad luck protection system. And Final Fantasy XIV gives you a bad luck protection system. If you don't get your weapon in X amount of tries, you can go fucking buy it because you have the currency. I don't understand. I don't understand. Like, he's like, what will I do once I finish Endwalker? I don't like raiding, then don't raid. I don't like trials, then don't do trials. I like crafting, do crafting. I don't like crafting, don't do crafting. I only like the story, just do the story. Like, what's the issue? I don't understand.
I don't know if there's any reason for me to stick around outside of maybe crafting professions.
Then don't.
So finally, let's get to launch day. I'd be lying if I said the launch didn't feel pretty disastrous.
Okay.
Because it was. Now, lengthy explanations were given, and
No, listen up. Okay, that's true, that's true. The launch of Endwalker was dogshit ass garbage because they were expecting X amount of people, then because World of Warcraft was so utter shit, at its absolute worst, pretty much, you know? There was a WoW exodus, everyone had caught up to fucking Endwalker, everyone was expecting to play Endwalker, and suddenly the Square Enix servers were on fucking fire. So what am I trying to say here is, it is true, okay? That makes sense, it's understandable.
Free game time was passed around. Empathy demands that I be understanding of the situation on their end, and I am. Stuff has happened.
Oh, by the way, they gave us like 1 or 2 months of free game time because of this. Like, because people missed them, could not log in many times. There were all these waiting times and all this shit. By the way, they opened up new servers, but that's a subject for another time. They gave us free game time. They were very clear on it through both pre-release, delay, and resolution that there were literally no hardware to fix the situation. It's not just that, Bodrick. They also gave you free time. Never in my life have I ever been given free time by Blizzard. The supply chain shipping situation at the time, just Zero Fright, was moving worldwide. True, and it was in the pandemic. It was a big bad situation, okay? But still, again, I want to emphasize, they gave us free game time. I've been playing WoW for 14 years. The only thing that I have been given is a massive cock in the ass. And many of my tickets could not be solved because... Okay, that's a subject for another time. But my point is... I see zero argument here, dude.
They're enjoying or suffering the burdens of renewed success, something semiconductors. But empathy also demands...
Yeah, but like, this is the minority, right? To say that several addicted players were legit complaining as hard as they could and they were threatening legal complaints against Yoshi, that's a mentally ill person, okay? You cannot identify yourself through a game, okay? You need to identify yourself through your fucking self, you know? I don't know, dude, like, To these people, I would just literally say, maybe you should stop playing for a while. Maybe you should just rediscover yourself. Go get some therapy, or you don't have to get some therapy. Just give yourself some therapy. Get your me time. You know, when people attack the game, they're not attacking you. They're attacking the game. You're different. You're just playing the game. You know, I don't know, dude.
That I'd be understanding of players, including myself, who had to endure not just really long queues, but buggy and unreliable queues, which prompt us to have to babysit these queues. That's the beef that I have.
Dude, the game goes on fucking fire. You're a World of Warcraft gamer. You remember fucking Worlds of Draenor? Come on, dude. Like, everyone has a bad... Can you imagine your game being too successful and players whining? I would be happy. I would stop playing for that month, but I would be happy. You know why? I would be like, oh my fucking god. My MMO is alive. My MMO is doing well. What kills an MMO? Players. If players don't exist, MMO dies. I don't know, dude.
Myself, obviously, I didn't need to play at launch. My interests are more with experiencing the story.
Good.
It's not going anywhere. I'm not a competitive raider who has to race towards anything, but I, like many, wanted to play it at launch. And really, that's all the reason that's needed, and our choice to do that was being put at risk. That's the long and short of it. Okay. Maybe that 2-week delay that was announced, maybe it should have been a 4-week delay. Maybe the early access window could have been a little bit longer to help spread the traffic about when the full release kicked in. Maybe they should have suspended the sales of the expansion and the game itself, you know, like virtually sell out of copies until the situation became more manageable. Yeah, woulda, coulda, shoulda, but this is where we're at.
Actually, they did. They did not allow the free-to-play gamers to log in for this time and for a bit time ahead. You know, 2-week delay was for animation narrative additions. They admitted recently that they were last-minute re-recording. I mean, sure, okay, but when you commit to a release date, like Japan has different perspectives in those things. You know, like Final Fantasy XIV would not just release it too heavily. Like they take, they're very punctual. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, punctual is punctual the word? You know, they're on their time. Okay, they're gonna say that I arrive at 10 o'clock. They arrive at 10 o'clock. You know. Again, dude.
Endwalker, like the previous expansions, is both shameless and proud of its story presentation. We're used to it taking its time to make sure that you, the player, don't fall behind on the narrative. After all, you know, you're playing as the star, you're the warrior of light. Of course, you gotta be in the know. No stone is left unturned, no detail left unaccounted for, I think. No supplementary novel is needed. The drawback.
Yeah, but you skipped a lot of these details when you skipped ARR.
Back to that though, especially when approaching the end of a saga like this, is that during the journey we've met hundreds of characters, and not all of them are gonna get their conclusions. They're not all gonna get airtime. It kind of sucked to see certain characters just referred to in the third person, or you see them but they're just kind of like, whoo, they're just in the background, standing there somewhere. Now, mind you, I'm talking about the MSQ. I mean, maybe we'll see a lot more of these folks in side quests or upcoming patches, but in the very...
Do you expect the game to address every single character in the fucking world every single time they're mentioned? Do you know how many characters the game has? Dude, come on, like this is unreal. Like World of Warcraft is literally struggling to do this with 3 characters at a time. With 3 fucking characters at a time. Come on, bro.
A few side quests that I've done while leveling, I just didn't happen to see any familiar faces. And even among your own scions, your own buddies, I feel as if some got way more screen time than others.
I mean, if you missed the entirety of ARR, you wouldn't know why. I'm sorry, dude, but like, it doesn't work like that. And of course, like, okay, what he's saying is true. Some scions do get more screen time than others. Well, everyone, I guess, is getting more time than Papa Limo, who is fucking dead, right? But Why is that a bad thing? Why is that a bad thing? I don't understand. Why should all get the same exposure? And yeah, he did skip.
And again, if there's a lot more presence in side quest content, I stand corrected, but that's just the vibe that I got from playing just through the MSQ. Another small side effect, because of that spread, there are moments when where everyone is together, where I'm like, all right, guys, strap in, here we go. We got to make those rounds and make sure that all the scions, that they get to say their piece. It sounds kind of wishy-washy because I just talked about how not everyone gets a fair amount of screen time, but when they do, sometimes it's handled a little bit forced. There's no avoiding that, though, to placate the fans, and yeah, that's not really a knock. I'm just like nitpicking here and there.
Dude, you realize that there are phones in the game, right? Like, there are phones in this game. What I'm trying to say. Let's say that I hit my leg, and my mother sees it, and my father, who is currently on vacation, doesn't see it. When my father comes back, he's gonna say, yo, motherfucker, how's your fucking leg? It isn't forced. He wasn't here when I hurt the leg. But hey, you know what? Telephone, it's a device. Like, what do you mean?
Here's another one, though. The Square team learned a new trick with Endwalker. It's this newfangled feature called escort quests. Where someone follows you around and you can't let them fall behind. And in this case, it means you can't teleport and you also can't mount.
What do you mean? I have had escort quests in the past. I think ARR was the last time I had. I don't remember, but I did have some in ARR. This guy wouldn't know, of course. And yeah, every MMO in the fucking world has escort quests. World of Warcraft has escort quests. What?
Now, some of these escort quests take place in city
not
areas,
true,
and it
and
makes
fixed,
this
okay.
feel a lot more relaxed. Like, while walking around, there are circular areas you can enter, and this initiates some extra dialogue. It's great for learning more and bonding with your escort person. But some escort quests take place out in the field, where it's easy to accidentally mount up and yeet off and forget that someone was following you. And
how the fuck? Dude, come on. Dude, please don't have a child, dude. Oh my God. Hey, you know what? Sorry, guys. Dude, I'm not even gonna fucking... I'm not gonna edit the laughter out of YouTube once I upload this. Yeah, dude. So there's this guy following me, and then just fucking fucked off. Oh my God. Hey, some escort quests need me to go outside. Okay. And then when I was outside, I was like, you know what? I got my fucking bike, and hey, you know what? I'm fucked up. Gameplay is boring because you go point to point. The game puts you in a travel quest where you go point to point and select allies who speak with you throughout. Wait, why can't this game do different things? Dude, I'm reading your messages, guys. Dude, no, you know what? All of you that have children out there, just give this guy an argument on the comments. Don't trash talk, okay? Don't fight him, but be like, dude, sometimes you need to walk outside with your pet. Like, can you imagine you're walking with your dog, and then suddenly in the meantime you just leave the dog out there, you go on, you get on your motorcycle and you fuck off? Like, what the fuck, dude?
you gotta go run back and get him again. It's also really annoying when the game reminds you of how these quests work every time they occur, and these are frequent, which kind of explains, why I just mentioned that I ran off. Thanks for reminding me, I guess. There are some small, maybe buggy issues with them too, like here's some feedback. When an escort is done, it's sometimes, or maybe usually, followed up with a cutscene. However, you don't get credits for completing the escort until that cutscene is played to completion. So if you disconnect for any reason, sorry buddy, you gotta go back and then grab your person again. It's not a huge deal, but it's just a tip.
Dude, of course, because think about it. What is the other possibility? To skip the cutscene? Do you know how many people would mold if they had to skip a cutscene and they would have to go on YouTube and rewatch it? No. Though, there is a fix in my opinion. It should just save you in the in-between. So, it's just an autosave before the cutscene. and the cutscene happens, and if you disconnect during the cutscene, it just takes you right before you started the cutscene. Like the moment you log in, you do the cutscene again.
Case every escort quest happens to work this way. I just think the Square Enix team was a little bit trigger happy with this new / old feature, and I hope that they tone it down a little bit in patch content. On the quality of life side of things, I am glad that the team finally got around to making teleports around cities much more tactile, I think. 14 is a very heavily menu-based game with respect to console players, so it's a welcome experience to see this hybrid menu selection.
Oh, he's a console only,
you have
okay.
your usual selections you can click there, but also you get a map that mouse users can just drag and click to. Overall, I did like the way that Endwalker story flowed more than previous expansions.
I can't help
It does
you there.
have its moments where the story slows down, even though the sense of urgency remains really high, but it's not nearly as bad as like Shadowbringers, where I really felt like I was being teased towards what might be a really big moment, but then the game slams the brakes, and now I've got to meet these new people who I don't care about, and I got to help them out with mundane crap. Endwalker just makes
Dude, if you don't want to meet those new people and help them around with their mundane crap, maybe you should reconsider your approach in the game. Maybe you should stop playing for a while, you know? Because you need to meet new people in order for the new people to bond with you and become familiar people, and then in the future they become references, and then in the very future those people are now old people and they come and help you. Like, how the fuck are you gonna get married if you don't if you don't have a girlfriend to begin with? Or a boyfriend, whatever the fuck you prefer, you know? And yeah, like, I don't understand.
that formula work a lot
This guy
better.
confuses
From
me.
an analytical level, it still happens in Endwalker, but it's much more subtle and natural. Believable is a good way to put it too. The finer details and smaller stories that make up the whole delivered on a really strong and believable sense of emotion. One story beat in particular felt super frantic, and it had me running all sorts of mental scenarios in my head as to where the story was going to go next. Even if I was pretty sure what was going to happen, the threat of a chaotic outcome had my heart racing, and it was pretty fun. As said, the smaller stories that make the whole are great. From the individual MSQs of each of the earlier expansions to diversions in the main story to patch contents as well.
Okay.
But as a whole, like the entire saga, I'm not going to pretend that I knew what was going to happen shortly into Endwalker, but once it all started coming together, I couldn't help but roll my eyes at the obvious cliche. Like, let me start again. Like, this is one of the best JRPG stories that I've experienced.
Okay.
But it's so typical at the same time. Like, it checks so many of those boxes with tropes and plot points that I could find in a lot of other JRPGs. I'm not even trying to say it's bad. It's great in a way that, you know what, this is like the best sandwich place in town. But in the end, it's just another sandwich. Like, you see how conflicted I am with this? Don't put spoilers in the comments, but just kind of nod or shake your head. I just...
Oh my god. Oh my god. Of course it's another sandwich. What are you trying to say? It is another sandwich, but it is the best sandwich in the world. You pay for the best sandwich in the world. If you go in a place that tells you that it has the best sandwich in the world, and you eat the best sandwich in the world, yes, it was another sandwich, but that's why you went there to begin with, because you want to have a sandwich. Dude, if you don't want to have a sandwich, and you want to have something else to eat, leave. If you don't want McDonald's, don't go to McDonald's. If you don't want chicken, don't go to KFC. If you don't want this MMO, don't play it. Make a review as to why you didn't play it. Like, you know what? I think this guy is conflicted because he's afraid of what he wants to say, and I will do a whole explanation at the end of the video where I will address every single point he has made.
just wanted to know if y'all are with me on this with the whole grandeur story. I know once upon a time I said that the story was very, very okay. And I guess that was just a mean way of me saying what it is that I just said. So, I just want to address that really quick and apologize for kind of a crude comment. but that's kind of where I'm standing. The music,
Okay.
as usual.
Okay. He finds the story okay. That's good. I don't mind. He finds the story okay. Good. Okay. No problem. No problem. He's not fond of the story. That's his opinion. That's his opinion. You can go out and give your opinion. You want to know my opinion? I hate the fuck out of black mage. It is dog shit to play. To me, that's subjective. But to me, it is dog shit. I hate it. I despise the new summoner rework. Maybe you like it, maybe you love it. Good. I believe it can suck my dick. It's okay to have opinions like that. It's your opinion, it's not a fact. You don't have to apologize for anything.
Terrific. One notable thing that I want to point out, I did not like the battle music from Shadowbringers at all. It felt like noise. I'm sorry. This is my video.
Fair enough. Sure, I
Downvotes
haven't
are
listened to it.
Somewhere in the corner over there. You can't see him, but whatever. But the Endwalker fight music, oh, it's cool. It was a banger. Love
Wait,
it.
what? Hold up.
I did not like the battle music from Shadowbringers at all.
Okay. He said Shadowbringers. Sorry. I have listened to Shadowbringers battle music. My bad. Jesus fucking Christ. He said Endwalker. I mistook those two. Okay, I fucked up. Brain fart. Right. Okay, dude, for real? Okay. Anyway, that's subjective. Music is subjective. Subjective. Yeah, I'm not.
At all.
I
It felt
disagree,
like
but I'm
noise.
not.
I'm sorry. This is my video. Downvotes are somewhere in the corner over
No,
there.
I'm not gonna downvote you because you don't enjoy the same music as I do, you fucking idiot. No, this is not how it works. No, people when disagree, they don't downvote.
You can't see him, but whatever. But the Endwalker fight music, oh, it's cool. It was a banger. Love it.
Okay.
The final outdoor zone, it was exceptional. Like, it told its own story in music as we progressed from one area to the next. I think that's the best way to word that, I think. But it was just exceptional. There was only one unfortunate flub, though, where the music just didn't quite fit right. I'll mention where in the spoiler section of the video, but the mood felt so much more urgent than the tasks that I was set out to do.
I have not played Endwalker.
Here I am, I'm just talking to people, and the music is like dun 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 dun, and it's like trying to have a conversation in the middle of a nightclub. Okay. And we're here for a while, so the music got stuck in my head in a not so great way. Maybe it is just me, but to me,
lower
it served
the volume
to be
or mute it.
like a really good example of
Just
when
saying.
music just kind of jacks up the vibe. The new zones, and by that I mean the outdoor zones and the cities and dungeons, they look really good. Like, they're vibrant, they're massive, and they're all over the place. Okay. As in, well, I'm not trying to spoil you, but you travel to some very different locales during the different arcs of the story. Each of them have their own charm, and it's just super enjoyable. There's one dungeon that stood out more than others because it tells a series of stories as you travel along. I'll try to talk about that one later in the spoiler section. I do need to nitpick though, like the same way I did with Shadowbringers and pretty much all of Final Fantasy XIV is
not all of Final Fantasy XIV. You did not nitpick about ARR because you did not play ARR.
the way that the team executes on outdoor and dungeon interaction. It's not very inspiring. I hate using that word, but it just doesn't feel good. I think it's kind of their intention, because I've seen this throughout the whole game where mobs they're like spaced out evenly and they graze around like cattle. I don't know, maybe it's a nod to the good old random encounter system of JRPGs like, again, Final Fantasy, but from an immersion standpoint, mobs just wander around and they look out of place. To me, at least, most of the creatures that you see out there don't look like they were designed with their environments in mind, that they just weren't given that same level of care.
I can't offer you an opinion here. I have not played Endwalker. Like, I know that I'm mentioning this over and over again, but yeah, I need to make sure that everyone knows and understands. Maybe they tuned it later, maybe they're watching this later. I cannot offer my opinion in something that I haven't done.
From my experience, and I guess from reports too, the level pacing is a little bit off, or maybe it's very off, depending on how you play. Because y'all know me, I'm a one-job slut, but I found myself not gaining enough experience to just cruise through the main story. I got stuck at a few points. Folks tell me that in the past they've leveled...
Aren't you happy about this? I would be very happy about this. To finally have to do some dungeons or some raids, some extra content. Maybe, you know what? Maybe that is an opportunity to go and explore the beast tribes. Go and try out some new shit. Aren't you happy that they did this?
The 2 jobs simultaneously while
Yeah.
playing through the MSQ, so I guess this was
3 here.
unusual. Resolving it was no big deal. I did a few fates, and there was like this role quest line that I dipped into whenever I needed to gain a level. But there also came the problem of only reaching level 90 pretty late in the story. As a paladin, leveling gave me job perks, and it altered my ability.
But isn't that the goal to reach max level at the end of the story?
Abilities a little bit. Job changes moving from Shadowbringers to Endwalker made it play slightly differently, but the kind of eye-opening rotation changer didn't happen until level 90.
Okay.
And so when I finally got to fire off a full rotation, the whole shebang, which I probably don't have right, by the way,
You was overwhelmed.
I was like, and I quote, "Is this really fucking it? Wow. It's not even a new button. It's just my confetti AoE button 3 more times. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, boom, dot, 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 boom. You know what I mean." A friend pointed out to me that mechanically it would have been the same opening rotation that I would have used before then. And you know, it's an AoE, it's a dot, it does do a lot of damage, and it looks fantastic. But when he told me how, you know, when he told me the meaning of this kind of rotation, this button, it made me feel even worse. It's like, hey guys, here's your new ability. It's the buttons that you were going to press anyway, but you only need to press 1. Yay. In higher level conversations, I'm sure we could discuss button bloat and how this is the way to add something interesting.
Why is that a bad thing? I don't understand. Why do you want to make your rotation more complicated? Like, you've already learned it. They give you a new toy. You get to use the new toy. You look epic while doing it. I've seen how the paladin one looks. Why is it a necessity? I mean, okay, that's subjective, okay? Maybe he doesn't enjoy it.
To the kit without adding much bloat, which is fine. But mechanically, you know, this is just kind of foot in the mouth feedback. It just didn't add much of anything at all.
In your
I'm sure
opinion,
the other tank
okay.
jobs are exciting with some cool changes with Endwalker. And, well, okay, I want to believe that because for me, it just didn't happen here. And now this big story, this big saga is over. The credits rolled, the ending teased that there is much more to come with new adventures, maybe new lands to explore and people to meet.
Splendid.
To me, this is the most drawn out JRPG that I've ever played. And I don't mean that as a bad thing. I look back to other Final Fantasies, other RPGs, and I wonder to myself just how much could have been put into these other games if they had been given the same time and care. And on the flip side,
why do you compare this game, this Final Fantasy XIV, with the other RPGs? This is an MMO. Please understand that. Please, for the love of God, can you comprehend that this is an MMO RPG? It's not just an RPG. It's fundamentally different than literally every other FF, aside maybe from 11.
What I've enjoyed Final Fantasy XIV as a very abridged game, with, you know, the game and all its expansions smushed into like this 50 to 100 hour experience. And I think so. So that's why, that's what makes 14 great. We got to explore this extended universe of characters, textured by emotion and nuance, and I don't regret playing it at all. But I also haven't logged in since turning in that final quest. In fact, if I do have B-roll footage going, that's going to be the first time that I've dived back in to capture content. Whoop-de-doo. Here's why.
Good.
And it doesn't matter if you think I'm right.
I mean, that's good. I haven't. It doesn't matter. When was the last time I logged in? I logged in. Do you guys remember? I think it was it August? I think it was middle of August or something. So, doesn't matter. You can log in whenever the fuck you want. You bought the game. You own the game.
Sharing, okay? One part of the endgame experience is high-level play. And the journey is to, you know, overcome that by getting the gear that you need and building a team and learning the encounter and the rotations and all that stuff. The road to that, though, you know, obtaining the gear and growing stronger, in 14, it just feels really, really boring. You grind the duties and the trials, you get the currency, you buy the gear, you master the rotation, and then off you go and you start learning the encounters. It is very straightforward.
Hold up. Are you out of your freaking mind, dude? Like, I'm sorry, but didn't you just describe every fucking MMO out there?
Longer, in 14, it just feels really, really boring. You grind the duties and the trials.
You grind the dungeons. You do mythic dungeons.
You get the currency.
You get the currency. All right. You get island expeditions or whatever extrinsic system, reward system World of Warcraft fucking has.
The gear. You master.
Yeah, you finally have the gear. Yes.
The rotation.
So you get to raid. Yeah, you master location in the training dummies before all this shit. Obviously, you know. Yeah.
And then off you go and you start learning the encounters.
Yeah, and then you go into the raid. ESO. You get into the dungeons. You get the gear. You optimize the gear by doing the enchants and all this shit, you know. I don't remember how to call them, transmutes and all this fucking fucks, you know. You master the location, you prepare everything you have to do, now you get to raid.
It is very straightforward, right?
Yeah.
With no fangled systems to learn and no worries about having to farm for that special item that someone tells you that you need. Or an item set that is supposed to be the best in slot, but at the same time, not having that leaves me empty. And for now, I've decided to not dive back in.
Okay.
And I don't need the game to improve for me on that, on that little thing. Good. Because the game already has enough.
The game shouldn't improve just for you, because if it doesn't appeal to you, it appeals to a lot of other people.
For me to want to jump back in later. You know, I want to jump back in for the story. It just doesn't have anything to keep my sustained interest. And I don't care enough. Frankly, yeah, I just don't care enough to petition that things be any different for me. So Final Fantasy XIV is not the sort of game that I want to live in, but it's a heck of a lot of fun to visit. And that's going to be it for the non-spoiler stuff. I advise that anyone who has not played through the entirety of the MSQ of Endwalker to stop watching, but leave a like on the way out because you're super nice. I'd appreciate it. I'm going to be a little bit less, I'm going to be very not structured here. I'm just going to kind of jump into a topic and start.
Yeah, we're not going to jump into the topic and start, okay? What we are going to do instead is play some music and start addressing what this guy is saying, okay? Now, what I believe the problem with this person right here, with this individual, is it's not the things that he doesn't like and he disagrees. It's the arguments that he gives. That, like, many times he will not give you an argument, okay? He will, when did this video come out? Yeah, I saw the question, but I also saw that he responded to December, right? Yeah, December 15th. What I want to say here is, in order to properly give an argument, in order to give you an opinion, popular or unpopular, it doesn't matter, okay? You need to properly explain it to people. I will give you guys an example. I hated the fucking thaumaturge at low level because it was so boring, it was so slow, and if I felt weak, I felt that whenever a mob got to me, it was really dangerous. I did not enjoy that. It was so slow, so boring, made me gouge my eyes out, okay? I will give you guys another example. I did not really enjoy Ul'dah that much, okay? It's a sand. What do you want from me? It's a fucking sand. It's a fucking desert. The city is cool. The Sultanate is good. The characters I fucking loved. But overall, it's a fucking sand, you know? Okay? I don't enjoy them for a first time, okay? That's my opinion. I have to explain this to you. Because if I go out here and say thaumaturge is dog shit, I need to tell you why I believe that. Now, the problem this guy does is that he does not back up his arguments almost at all. He just presents some things, you know? And at the same time, I've seen in this video that he contradicts himself. And you guys can correct me on the chat or down in the comments, because I will obviously upload this shit on YouTube if you feel that I am wrong here. But he contradicts himself. He's, on the one hand, he's like, I skipped ARR because I didn't like it, and then I was doing the story in Heavensward, Stormblood, and Shadowbringers, and it was not that special. I mean, sure, but don't you think that you would have enjoyed it more if you knew all the background behind it, and if you didn't try to build castle in a fucking sand, you know? But let's put that aside. He's like, this thing didn't grab me, I didn't like the gameplay. Okay, that's respectable. I'm not fond of the gameplay myself. I prefer World of Warcraft's gameplay, ESO's gameplay. But if you say that you didn't like gameplay at all and it was terrible to you and you did not want to have to move from quest A to quest B, maybe you should reconsider playing the game. And maybe you shouldn't play the game at all. Maybe you should just watch the cinematics and the cutscenes on YouTube. Like, we have this platform out here for this very same reason. There are some games that you don't want to play, but you're very curious how they look and what happens in the story and all this shit. If that is the case, don't play the game. Watch the videos, watch the cinematics. Then he addressed how at max level at Shadowbringers before Endwalker, he really enjoyed fucking gathering and crafting. And he got to explore the world. But here's what I don't understand. If you don't enjoy the world from going to point A to point B, then why do you enjoy the world when it comes to exploring and gathering and crafting? It's practically the same thing. Even then, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's say that he does enjoy crafting and gathering. Then there you have it. You know what you want to do with this game. Like, this is why Final Fantasy XIV, in my opinion, is so successful and succeeded where other MMOs have failed. Because it gives you a choice. It gives you a variety of things to do. It does not lock you down to one path, you know? Like, I will give you guys an example in World of Warcraft. This guy didn't say he said he wouldn't make a comparison. I will, because I don't give a fuck. I can take a shit on Shadowlands however many times I want, okay? In order to build your legendary in Shadowlands, you needed to go do fucking Torghast, okay? You needed to. You did not have this choice, you know? In order to get gems in your gear, you needed to go and do more dailies. You did not have another choice. Now, Final Fantasy XIV gives you a lot of choices. You know, maybe you want to level up by doing the MSQ alone. Maybe you want to do some side quests, which he said he wanted to do the side quests, but then he didn't do the side quests, and then he never came back to the side quests. But if you wanted to do them to begin with, do them. I don't understand. In general, I'm not going to say that I disagree with this person. With again, I forgot his name. I suck at names, guys. I apologize about this. Let me check out very quickly. So Breezy, okay? I cannot disagree with Mr. So Breezy because I don't think he understands what he's trying to say. I believe that this person is confused. He is conflicted. Maybe he tried to get all the views and all the likes, and that's why he uploaded it briefly after the release, okay? But I try not to be cynical towards individuals. I try to be a decent human being and give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't understand that he knows what he's trying to say. Like, he has contradicted himself a lot throughout the entire video. And, dude, from me to you, okay? From one content developer to another, you don't have to like the game. You don't have to play the game, and you can take breaks. I haven't played Final Fantasy XIV in, let's see, about 2 months. And I'm not in a hurry to do so. I will do so soon, because I feel the need, like, to... because I want to play, like, Final Fantasy XIV, I want to try out some Endwalker. To be honest, before I do Endwalker, I want to do some Boja, you know? So, like, I'm not in a rush. I haven't even done Eureka. You know what? Because fuck it, I don't want to grind. I can say that. I can say that. That's my opinion on the matter, you know? But I'm not going to just fucking go out and give weird arguments that don't make sense. And when you put something out there, please try to support it. Like, that's what I believe your arguments were lacking. They were lacking support. You said, like, okay, that was bad. Why? When you go out and you say, you know what, the gameplay feels dogshit. Why? Make a comparison. Give us your opinion. Give us your point of view. People will disagree. Some dipshits may even downvote because they are so high. They agree with their opinion, and everything that doesn't sound like them, they're gonna fucking downvote it. It doesn't matter. But you need to support it. I believe that Final Fantasy XIV is a phenomenal game. Even though, yes, its gameplay could be better. To say what he said, that jobs didn't change from ARR all the way to Shadowbringers is blunt out preposterous, you know. This is just a lie. Like, you don't have to take my word for it, and I don't have to support my claim. The only thing I'm gonna tell you is literally just go play with a fucking free trial and play the job at 50 and at 60. They're night and day. and then play it at 17, 16, 15 there at night and day, you know? Like for me, the first time that I started to see complete jobs was at level 70. Before level 70, most jobs felt like they were missing something, you know? But don't say that there was no progress. Don't say that they were practically the same. No. Like the gameplay at the start of ARR started like what, a 2 out of 10? I'm sorry guys, that's my opinion, you know? And at the end of Shadowbringers, I would go and put the fucking gameplay at 7 out of 10 or maybe 8 out of 10. You know my complaint with Final Fantasy XIV? I've said it before, it's not the GCD, I enjoy that. I enjoy the OGCD shit. Heck, even at the end of Shadowbringers, I believe that it becomes more complex than World of Warcraft gameplay is. Way more complex, way more buttons, way fast, way more APM, okay? Especially if you play Ninja or Monk, alright? My complaint is the 500 milliseconds of delay. That's why I do not enjoy the combat that much. But I'm giving you the reason. You know, like I don't like spellcast sliding. How the fuck you call it? When, you know, you have to cancel your spell like 0.5 seconds before and then move and then the spell still goes out and then... Yeah, that's the thing I don't enjoy. That's the thing that does not really appeal to me. That's one of the reasons I hate Final Fantasy PvP. Maybe you like it. That's good for you. You can enjoy it. I don't. I despise it for this reason. I also believe it's very pruned and so on and so forth, you know? Slide casting, yeah. People have their opinions, but when you give your opinion, explain why, my friend. Explain why, okay? Anyway, guys, that was pretty much it. You know, I don't know. If you're watching on YouTube, maybe you should consider subscribing or don't. I don't know. Like maybe you get offended by me asking you to subscribe and now you downvoted the video. Do whatever the fuck you want. Thank you for watching and that's pretty much it, you know.